Where have the shoppers gone? They're home because they can't afford groceries like they did in the past. Grocery stores are empty. According to a survey carried out by the self-reported data, over 90% of Americans are unable to afford groceries. The causes for these saddening figures range from low income, inflation, and the recent pandemic. The number of Americans who now skip meals because of the high cost of foodstuff is overwhelming. Foods that used to be incredibly cheap to get have now become a luxury. More than half the US population lives paycheck to paycheck. Prices of goods keep shooting up while income remains at the same level. This has made cutting back on purchases to be the most efficient method used to deal with the rising cost of food. The pandemic has also made things worse, and the economy is suffering. According to Bloomberg, consumer prices have risen 0.5% in January, with annual inflation of 6.4%. It is the most in 3 months. Let's have a look at 15 foods that middle-class Americans can no longer afford. Fresh vegetables. Vegetables like tomatoes and lettuce are becoming too expensive for American average householders to afford. This is partially due to demand being more than supply. There are not enough farms to meet the demands of the population. Farmers aren't having it easy because the process needed to become certified as an organic farm is tedious and it costs a lot. The price of vegetables has gone up 10%, causing those Americans who wish to have healthy meals to reconsider their options. Milk. The price of milk has gone up 15.9% in the past year. Butter and cheese need milk to be produced. Hence, the demand is high. More milk is given to the makers of these products, and the quantity available for consumers is limited, and so the hike in price. Bacon. Since the COVID-19 pandemic, the price of bacon has been high. The demand for bacon dropped during the pandemic, and pig farmers had to close their businesses. Now that things are easing up, the demand for bacon is back to being high while there are not enough farmers to meet this demand. As a result, prices have shot up, and more Americans are going without the greasy taste of bacon as part of their lives. Coffee. It is painful to admit that coffee is on the list of foods that Americans can't afford. It's too darn expensive. The one thing Americans find pleasure in is now being robbed of them. The early morning coffee, coffee breaks, and the satisfaction of having coffee may be a thing of the past very soon. The production cost of coffee is high. Plus, the fact that coffee plants can only be harvested once a year makes it pricey. Add this to the cost of moving the precious powder or grains from one country to the other, and you get an overly priced cup of coffee. Vegetable oil. Oils are used practically every day in American homes. They are multi-purpose and are used to prepare most meals. Vegetable oil is also used to produce most of the snacks Americans love, and it has affected the price of these commodities. Oil prices have risen to 30% more than their initial cost as of last year. Owners of restaurants feel this the most, as oil is a major ingredient in most of their meals. Cereals, a favorite of all Americans, have been noticeably missing from the shelf of Americans. Prices have gone up 17% and are now too expensive to remain a staple breakfast. Americans are learning to do without cereals. The CEO of Nestle has hinted at the possibility of the prices of their brands rising. Dried fruits. Dried fruits like pistachios, cashews, nuts, and walnuts are loved by Americans. They're delicious and can be used to improve the taste of meals. Sadly, this has become one of those products that Americans are painfully saying goodbye to. The climate where these fruits are grown plays a role in affecting their prices. Unfavorable weather conditions translate to higher prices, and lately, the weather conditions have not been favorable. The cost of transporting these goods across countries contributes to the increased cost too. These and other factors add up to why Americans are not visiting the dried fruits section as much as they like. Next is wheat. Russia, as the major provider of wheat to America, has been distracted in recent times, so exporting wheat to America isn't exactly one of its biggest concerns at the moment. The war with Ukraine has led to reduced production of wheat, and this is directly affecting the availability of wheat. Demand for it is high, supply is so low, and with increased shipping costs, these give you a hike in the price of wheat. Bread. The tight supply of wheat and flour and its high cost directly affect the cost of bread, because these are the major ingredients for making bread. As a result, the plainest type of bread costs so much, and so bread is losing its place in the households of Americans. It'd be crazy to spend so much on a loaf of bread when things are so tight. butter. Butter has gone up 26% from its previous price. The high cost of milk has affected the price of other dairy products, including butter, and Americans are now looking at alternatives to use instead of butter, like margarine, because of its exorbitant price. This is a food item that used to be so cheap and taken for granted. The cost of buying and maintaining cattle is contributing to the expensive nature of butter. Soft drinks. Your favorite beverages could be going into extinction, something you never thought could happen. Well, the problems happening in the world have not been kind to sodas either. Manufacturers are reporting a decrease in the supply of carbon dioxide, and this has resulted in the prices of soft drinks going up by 5%, with a potential to continue rising. According to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average cost of a 12-ounce can of a 12-pack soda used to be 35 cents. Now it has risen to 51 cents per 12 ounces. Fresh fruits. Not only are fresh vegetables elusive to Americans, but fresh fruits have also become too expensive to get. Americans are quickly losing important nutrients they need to stay healthy. Fruits are 70% more expensive than they were last year. Avocados. Avocado is a kind of fruit, and we just mentioned how high the prices of fresh fruits have gone. Avocados deserve a special mention because their recent prices have been alarming. It has gone up 40%. Recent prices are outrageous. Beef. No surprises here. Beef prices have risen by 20% in recent times. Cow meat is no longer affordable for most families in the US. Eggs. Egg prices have doubled over the years. Eggs used to be so cheap, but aren't anymore. Eggs are now scarce, and stores are short of these products. Egg prices have gone up by 40%. The versatility of eggs means they're going to be missed a whole lot. They play a vital role in most of our meals, especially breakfast and recipes for baked foods. Now that this has happened to eggs, the change in the lifestyle of Americans as regards to breakfast is sad. Can you imagine breakfast without eggs? It's not a pleasant thought. However, Americans love their eggs, and there has been some unconventional alternative to make them available at a cheaper price. Reports of attempts to smuggle eggs into the country from Mexico have been made. Americans are now meeting local farmers directly to source for eggs. A store actually sells a dozen eggs for $17. Phew. The American Egg Board has said the cause of the increased price of eggs is attributed to the outbreak of flu that killed a lot of birds and reduced the supply of those that could lay eggs. Some people are accusing companies of taking advantage of the situation to keep egg prices high. The importance of eating healthy has never been overflogged more than Americans. Yet, they remain one of the countries that do not eat healthy. Lots of Americans are being forced to purchase fewer food items because of tight budgets, and when they do get food, it is not the best of qualities. Limited access to nutritious foods automatically results in the decline of one's physical and mental health. With a steady rise of foodstuff and no sign of it dropping, Americans are going to be witnessing a couple of rough years ahead.